Hey, your viewers and viewesses, my name is General Strategist, and welcome back to So You're Being Hunted, episode 377. So, in the last episode, I was joined by Phil, which was pretty good. He joined me, of course, for the end of the Toy Train Challenge. We finished that one successful this time around. It's funny, of course, with that challenge that I was, of course, a bit concerned with that one at first, wondering how frequent, or how frequently, the old toy trains would spawn into the actual level, onto the actual map, and whether I'd be able to do the challenge then in that instance. But fortunately proved that it was possible to do it, even when at times I was struggling to find toy trains, which was great, absolutely fantastic. So, good that I've completed another challenge. Oh my god, look at that, two fucking trombones in quick succession right there. It's not what you see that often now, is it? Flipping heck. Okay, well, let's just do some inventory management. I'm going to take these bottles, definitely. Bottles of booze for my character. So we're doing a podcast-style episode, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry if it sounds like I'm sucking... Oh my god. Fucking 3 trombones in the space of one area. Are you kidding me? I don't think I've ever seen 3 trombones in the space of one area before. What's going on? Jesus. But, yeah, podcast-style episode just for this one, because I think that, you know, I just needed a quick filler episode to fit into the schedule, so I thought, you know what, I'll do one of these. And plus, you know, it was interesting because when Phil joined me last time, we were having a chat about a topic that he'd thought of, so, you know, he was talking about something of interest to him, which was back in the days when you were at school, going on school trips, things like that. But, you know, not just school, actually, incidentally. We were also thinking about trips at sixth form, trips at university level, things you'd do, stuff like that, which was very, very interesting, don't get me wrong. But, you know, it got me thinking about kind of trips more in general, you know, like family holidays and things like that. And I was just sort of thinking, sorry if you just heard me sucking at my own teeth then. No, I was just thinking more generally about a place which I have quite fond memories of. I don't know if I've really mentioned before, but when I was a kid, when I say kid, namely I mean when I was a teenager, sort of early mid-teens, my family, you know, we used to go on family holidays occasionally abroad to the Greek island of Kefalonia, which is in the Ionian Sea. So that's off the west coast of the Greek mainland. There's quite a few Ionian islands, in fact, but Kefalonia is one of the biggest ones. And, man, I just, you know, it got me thinking about that, and I just think, you know, I've not been to... I think the last time I went to the Greek island of Kefalonia was in 2008, which was a long, long time ago now, but, holy moly, you know, I still have quite good memories of it. It's such a nice place, because it's very, you know, peaceful. It's a very laid-back place to go to. You know, there's plenty of hotels, plenty of villas, potentially you could stay at. And, so, we, you know, me and my family, back in the day, we've been to the Greek island of Kefalonia a few times. I can't remember the first time we went. It was quite some time ago, quite a number of years ago. I was probably actually, maybe 11 or 12 when we first went there. And I was probably about 17 or so the last time I went. 17, 18. Well, actually, maybe not 18. That would be a bit too... no, that would be a bit late, that would. 16, 17 last time I went there. But, you know, there's some great towns, actually, on the Greek island of Kefalonia. So you've got, obviously, I think the capital of Kefalonia, or, you know, the largest town, at least, to call it that, is the town of Argostoli, which is a little port, well, I say little, decently sized little port town. When I say port town, really what I mean is it's a seaside town in Greece. But it's very, very nice. And then across the bay from it, you've got the town of Lixouri, which is a bit smaller, but equally is just as nice. But best part of Kefalonia actually is in the to the north of the island, on the north side of the island rather, where you have the town of Fiscardo, which is only small, and much of it is a pedestrianised town. So you can only really take cars along the outskirts, but the actual interior of the town is really quiet, because of course it's, well, there's no vehicles moving around, in essence. But it's a beautiful place, you know, plenty of tavernas, bars, places to stop and have a drink, stuff like that. And you can sort of wander around north of the town, sort of following the line of the bay. And you can go to like this old lighthouse, this old ruined lighthouse that's there. And I seem to recall you can actually climb up into it you know, it's publicly accessible. You can go into it and all that. So Fiscardo, absolutely lovely place, very peaceful, and there's a lot of like little villages and things all around it, which alternatively you can stay in those. You know, there's probably lots of villas and holiday rentals and hotels and small places around that you can visit, but it's a fascinating place, and man, it's just a place that the more I look back on it, the more I think, man, I would love to just go back there one day and just re-explore it, revisit a place which I remember very fondly from my youth. But you know, apart from Fiscardo, who's in the north, still, if you're kind of towards the more northerly end of the island, there's also the little village of Assos, which is not far from Fiscardo, but Assos is an interesting one. It's like you go right down this fucking steep hill and it sits on this little... It's interesting because Kefalonia as an island is a really interesting shape. It has like a lot of peninsular sections to it. And Assos sits in this little strip of land that connects this very like hilly peninsula onto the main kind of body of the island. And again, it's just classic sort of Ionian island village. Very beautiful, very quiet, plenty of bars, little tavernas, things where you can have a drink, eat, things like that. But also, I remember actually, I can't remember if this was the last time I went to Kefalonia with my family, or if maybe it was like a year or two before, but I remember one time we... basically, one of the kind of big features of the village of Assos in Greece, in Kefalonia, is this ruined Venetian hill fortress that overlooks it. It's on basically this hilly peninsula that I mentioned a moment ago. And you can go up to it, but let's just say, you know, in order to get to it, you have to go up this long, winding hillside track. You have to walk up, because I don't think you can take a car up to it. There's no parking up there, so you have to walk it. And of course, you know, obviously this being Greece, you know, at the height of the day in the summer, it gets very hot. So, you know, if you're on Kefalonia and you decide to do that, make sure you pack some bottled water and plenty of, in fact, you know, probably pack a couple of bottles at the very least, because you're probably going to need it. Let's just put it that way, with, you know, how hot it can actually get. But it's well worth doing it. It's nice to, you know, have a good walk up that hill in that nice heat. So yeah, Assos, good place to go. Fiscardo. There's plenty of beaches as well, obviously on Kefalonia, which is fantastic. You know, if you're into your sun, sea and sand kind of holidays, it's great. Though bear in mind, not all of the beaches are sandy beaches. I remember there's one beach on Kefalonia called Myrtos Beach, which is actually more of like a shingle beach. You can still go there, it's still nice. Still great stuff. But, yeah, the thing is, a lot of Kefalonia is it is a very hilly island, so that's something to bear in mind. And, you know, I remember one year, me and my family kind of went there, and we stayed at a villa, not far from Fiscardo. And, basically my parents, you know, they decided to get a hire car, and the little car that we got was this tiny little Fiat Panda, or whatever it was. This tiny little blue Fiat Panda. And, yeah, let's just say, sometimes it actually struggled to get up certain hills and inclines, because it's a little car, and sometimes the terrain in Kefalonia is quite steep. So, yeah, just bear that in mind. It's like my dad having to drop right down into fucking low gear and just really put his foot right down on the bloody accelerator pedal, really putting the revs on in order to get that car up the hill. Oh dear. Good memories though, right? The thing is, you know, like I say, Kefalonia is not the only Ionian island out there. There's loads of others, and there's actually a few quite close to it. Which thing is, there's ferries that you can get from places like Fiscardo, and probably also actually some of the other port towns in Greece, which can take you across to the islands. And it's not that long of a trip, you know. You can get across there in maybe a couple of hours at most. So there's obviously, you know, I think slightly to the, I think it's to the northeast, in a northeasterly sort of direction from Kefalonia. You have Ithaca, which is much smaller as an island, but again, it's just as nice. Ithaca, incidentally, was also, I believe, supposed to be the home place of Odysseus, in, you know, Greek myth and all that. So there's a little bit of something there. But I remember, you know, Ithaca being very nice. You can get the ferry across to it. You know, you can probably make that like a day trip if you're going out. Also remember, I think, again, to the north of Kefalonia, you have the island of Lefkas, or Lefkada, technically. I think it is in Greek. again, is a fairly big island. There's plenty of stuff to see and do there. So I reckon you can. I think you can probably get ferries from Fiscardo and Kefalonia to, I think it's called Nidri in Lefkas. Again, me and my family, we've been to Lefkas before. We once stayed at a villa there. And I don't remember that one quite as well as Kefalonia. Probably because Kefalonia we've been to several times. But yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, Lefkas was a nice place to go to. And I remember actually as well, obviously, you know, with any sort of any of these islands, you can always get like boat tours of the various islands. I remember, you know, ones we could get from Lefkas and Kefalonia, which take you around to various places. So they take you obviously to like Ithaca, they take you to islands like Meganisi, which are even smaller but still just as nice. I remember one time we had a boat trip that took us to a bay just off an island called Scorpios. Scorpios, incidentally, has a bit of an interesting history to it. It's only a small island, but from what I remember, it was once privately owned by a chap called Aristotle Onassis. Some of you may well have heard of him. He was I think he was like back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, whenever he was like a big, really rich Greek shipping magnate. And at one point in his life, I think he was married to Jacqueline Kennedy, who were, you know, former wife of President John F. Kennedy, I do believe. And so yeah, you can, you know, we had to stop off there. I don't know actually who owns that island now, Scorpios, or whether it's still on the market if you, you know, have a few €100 million or whatever to spare. But indeed, it was fascinating. Let's put it that way. I'm still carrying around this bloody great big device piece, even though there's another one over here. It's probably another big one, isn't it? But yeah, man. Just having a bit of a nostalgia trip, ladies and gentlemen, just as I think about these places that I've been before in my life and how maybe one day I'd like to go back and explore them again. Nostalgia and all that, I guess. Can we make space for this thing? I don't think we can we? Do I need this fucking trombone? Or maybe I could just ditch a fucking bottle or something and get rid of that, I don't know. Like that. Move some things around, like so. That's still not leaving me with a whole lot of space now, is it? Can I move stuff down there, maybe? No, still, that's not enough, is it? Fuck it. Ditch trombone. I don't think we need that, really, do we? Put that there. Just move that up there for the moment. Move that up there. Put that down there. Here we go. Inventory Tetris, ladies and gentlemen. We can afford to ditch a trombone, given that we've already frickin' seen about 2 others at that pub near the Standing Stones. My God. What can you do, eh? Right. Man. But yeah, nostalgia trip, that's all. Just Phil's topic of conversation last episode really just got me thinking about places places from my youth that I've been to. Man, one day I'm going to go back to Kefalonia. You know, whether that's on my own or with someone else, I don't know. But we'll see. But yeah, long-term goal, go back there, revisit the island. Because, like I say, it's been such a long time since I was last there. It'll probably be interesting to see if anything's kind of changed on it. Oh, watch out, freaking robots there. Maybe I'll explore more of the island if I ever go back there. Sort of explore perhaps maybe more from the kind of southern and central areas of the island, because those are perhaps areas where I haven't been as frequently. Because, you know, most of the times I've been to Kefalonia, it's been towards the northern end of the island. I mean, Kefalonia is serviced by only one airport. It has an airport actually on the island itself, but, like I say, just the one airport. And, thing is, that's obviously towards the south end of the island, not far from Argostoli. And once we've been to, you know, I've been to Argostoli and Lixouri and places like that before. I haven't been to them anywhere near as frequently as, you know, like I say, places on the north end of the island. So, might be worth going back and exploring more to it. Thing is, I do remember, I can't remember the name of it, but I'm pretty sure Kefalonia does have a certain tourist attraction on it. There's like a big cave or something on somewhere on the island, and they do like boat tours inside it, because it's like it's basically a cave with a big sort of lake in it. And I remember one trip that we did to Kefalonia, and this was years ago. I was only a young teenager at this time, I think. We went on a trip there, and we took like a coach trip around the island that was arranged by, I don't know, like the tour company or whoever we've gone with. And we visited various places. They took us to a freaking, the Rabola winery. Rabola, for instance, is a type of Greek wine, and it's I believe it basically comes from Kefalonia. They bottle it there on the island at a factory, and that was one of the places we went to as like a visit, because they do tourist trips through it. But I believe after we'd been to there, we then went to this other place, which was like a big cave somewhere on the island, and you wander down into it, you go down deep, and then when you get to like the big sort of underground lake part, there's like rowboats with Greek tour guides who basically row you out into the middle of it, and you sort of like, they take you like a little explore around the underwater cave. And the thing is, like, you know, this cave's well lit. It's naturally lit because there's like a big hole in the ceiling, from what I remember, where the sun obviously comes in from. But yeah, fascinating stuff. And I can't remember whereabouts that is on the island because it was so many friggin' years ago. Maybe I'd have to ask my old folks, give them a ring, and say, do you remember that trip we went to Kefalonia? Do you remember that cave they took us into as part of a island tour? What was the name of that cave? And can you remember whereabouts it was on the island and all that? But, indeed. Fascinating stuff right there. Oh, man. God, sorry, yeah, I've just been rambling a lot this episode about that. Because I really just want to go back there now, the more and more I think about it. Alright, I'm going to try and find a jetty and then maybe have a save. Since, actually, I've been recording for, just over 15 minutes or so, probably there. So, it's probably a good time to start wrapping up, unless I just went back to the standing stones, but feels like that may be quite a way off, I don't know. I did see a jetty before, but it was on the other side of the island. Alright. Oh boy, okay. So in the meantime, you know, whilst I'm trying to find a jetty, I'm sure one will show up on the compass at some point. Yes, if anyone asks me, do you recommend ever taking a trip to Kefalonia? Certainly once, you know, COVID-19 lockdowns are starting to ease up and all that. Definitely would recommend it. It's a lovely place to go. Or if not Kefalonia, one of the other Ionian islands. I mean, I'd say probably avoid places like Kos or Zakynthos or Corfu, just because from what I understand, those are much more touristy. If you want kind of more sort of unspoilt beauty, then Kefalonia, Meganisi, Ithaca, islands like that they're probably the places really that you want to go to, because they're fascinating and all that. So yes, excellent stuff right there. You know, I've probably actually done a topic of conversation on my So You're Being Hunted series before about places I'd like to go in my life. Maybe I'll do another video like that, just talking about that, because I'm sure, you know, last time I talked about that, there were probably quite a few places I mentioned, but there may well have been others that I didn't, because there's all kinds of countries and places in the world that I'd love to go and see. And so, yeah, maybe one day I'll sort that out and I'll get over there. But yes, Kefalonia and the, you know, maybe the other more northerly Greek Ionian islands, they're definitely on the list of places that I want to go back to and revisit at some point in my life. I'm sure it'll be quite worth it. Man, it's because just before I started this episode, I was actually looking on Google Maps at some of these places that I've just mentioned in this video. Just, you know, indulging that sense of nostalgia and all that. Alright, well, we're coming on to the jetty, we'll save here, and we'll wrap up. So, thank you everybody for joining me as I rambled in that one for this podcast-style episode. It was lovely stuff, wasn't it, right there, ladies and gentlemen? Right, save progress. Okay, Facebook and Twitter links down below, along with the link to my propagandist channel for anyone interested. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. I'll see you in the next episode, whether that'll be a podcast-style episode or a new challenge. Who knows? We'll see. Goodbye, everybody. Oh, hi, goodness, this group gets sidetracked easily. But where do we begin? Still looking and trying to work out what your town is, and I have no idea. Still don't really know what your town is either, though you got a little mallet there. Are those ear defenders, actually, that she's got around her neck? Maybe some kind of craft or something. What's that in her pocket, though, that she's got there? It's like a little puppet coming out of her pocket. I can't quite see it too well. Maybe your visor is meant to be eye protection. Maybe you're some kind of tradesperson, or like a sculptor, maybe an artist of some kind. I don't know, maybe. I've already forgotten what your voice was. I think it was the... Oh yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, I guess we should just jump into it. Starting will probably help us find more clues. I agree with Cherry.